we don't have to be sneaky. We provide a lot of value, and you have to be better at saying why there's risk to doing it yourself. There is risk.
Yeah.
You could mess it up, and then you'll burn your whole unit.
Consumer ignorance causes commoditization. Quality is up to the person consuming the content. You could produce something pretty well, and someone could just, a natural naysayer could be like, yeah, this sucks.
Everyone, Eric Thomas, Rival Digital, and I are going to be talking about today seeing marketing challenges as opportunities. And there's things happening in the market right now. The right sizing of the home services market, meaning maybe we were inflated a little bit during COVID. That's what I'm positioning it as. And I know some people will hate that. I don't care. No, just kidding. AI competing with us as SEOs. And that is a challenge because the attention is getting watered down on search engine results pages. SGE, generative search. Google is now taking up part of the page with the answer so people don't have to click through to your website. And the challenge with that and how we're dealing with that. And then the higher expectations of being one of the best in the industry. And I know Eric and Rival have a great reputation. See it all over our Facebook groups, see your clients raving about you. So, God, that's the best marketing, Eric, is just to do good work, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's always been something that I've always tried to keep at the forefront of what we do is just, if we take care of our clients and do the best we can and we're trying to do right by them, then it's a big industry, but it's a small circle and they'll talk to each other. And, I'm super excited to chat about these and very thankful for the opportunity to be on this podcast with you today. So I'm really excited to see where this takes us. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we had a heating and air contractor reach out. Maybe they were plumbing, HVAC or plumbing, one of the two, just yesterday. And he said that he found out about us through your video on the top, marketing agencies on YouTube. So definitely appreciate,
That's so cool.
what you're doing there. Oh yeah, it was really cool.
Like I
I
will
was,
say, like Jack and I just keep on putting out videos, and we like when we get a lead from one of the videos that we do, we're like, oh, it works. It really works. But if we're getting leads for our competitors, that is a fucking blessing. Like I literally, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like if we ever get our competitor lead or refer them and they close business, I get so happy. I get happy because one, I connected a company with a good guy, like somebody that does good work. And I get happy because it means like we have influence. And I like that too. I like feeling like we're influencing the market in some way, even if it's not to us. And honestly, we, as much as with certain things happening in the economy or like home services right sizing or things like that, I sometimes get a little breathy and a little scared, like, oh, I need the leads, I need the leads, I need the leads. But overall, like, I love when I can stay in that abundant space. We're going to kind of dive in fairly quick, but if you could give just a 1 minute background to you and your company, or 1 or 2 minute background to you and your company, how you got into this, like,
mhm.
and what you guys are doing now.
Yeah. So I kind of got my start in home services when I moved back home to Virginia from Kentucky after college. I was working doing SEO for a company called Mosquito Joe, which is a pest control franchise. And Mosquito Joe was acquired by Neighborly. We kind of got rolled up into their corporate team. So I was doing some like website operations and a little bit of like technical SEO and some website management type stuff for them. And then 2020 jumped out of there and we started Rival in 2020. Just focused on HVAC at the time, not even plumbing or electrical or any other industries. And we just stuck with HVAC for about a year and a half or so. We kind of noticed some more and more that a lot of HVAC companies also did plumbing, electrical. So we started to kind of broaden that. So yeah, so now we're coming up on 4 years in October. Um, our team we have 20 people full time across the United States. We keep it all in house. Um, And yeah, we help kind of similar to you. We don't do roofing, but we do, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, some pest control, a little bit of restoration here and there, but just marketing, good old fashioned marketing for home service companies.
Can you settle this for me once and for all? HVAC or HVAC?
I feel like I
And
said
why?
both. I feel like when I was just doing my intro, I caught myself saying it both ways. I It's weird because if I say it alone, standalone, I'll say HVAC. But if I'm combining it with another trade, I'll say like HVAC and plumbing. And then
What do you think the
sometimes
more common is for people actually in the trade? What do you think the more common one is?
in the trades, I'd say HVAC.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd
Just
say
curious,
HVAC for
just
sure.
curious.
And I think
I think that this is, I need to have everyone answer this question on this podcast for a while because it's
yeah,
literally so like it's just back and forth from my experience
yeah,
so far.
yeah. And if you get far enough down into the south, or like I'm working on a mullet back here, so like if my mullet takes over, and I'm visiting family down south, we'll say heating and air,
Yeah, there you go. It's
heating and
almost
air.
to me, heating and air is more says more. Like
Yeah,
HVAC, like and more than mechanical too, because that one,
yeah.
like we think about keywords and as SEOs, as All right, let's get into our content. We're talking about the home service industry, which 20% less units shipped. And there's data on that. I think that there's other industries like plumbing and things like that. There's things that have tightened up, maybe because people have replaced their units in the last 3 years, maybe because there was such a big push, maybe because there was a lot of reaping. I would say reaping going on from private equity pushing into the space and kind of trying to get more sales. Maybe there was a little bit more of the fields got reaped. That being said, still above average from 5 years ago. What are we dealing with here, and how can this be an opportunity from your experience?
Yeah, I would say I have definitely seen this year, at least from our camp of clients, we definitely are seeing that marketed leads for replacements are definitely either flat or less than what they have been in years 2 or 3 years past. And I really do think there's a lot of factors at play, with it. It's an election year. Consumer confidence is a little bit wishy-washy with the economy. People are tightening up. Inflation has gotten crazy, so people have a little bit less buying power. So I do think that has played a role in the fact of people like wanting to do um, kind of home upgrades arbitrarily, wanting to improve their home. There's always going to be a need. These things have a shelf life. Water heaters, heat pumps, furnaces, they have a shelf life. So they're eventually you're going to have to get it replaced. So there's always going to be that kind of market each year. But yeah, what we've been seeing for the most part, from the contractors of ours that are staying really steady and doing really well are the ones that have shifted their focus to, um, you know, from a marketing standpoint, focusing more on repair and maintenance, growing that maintenance list, growing that customer list, and then taking a repair when you can, just to try to get that that maintenance customer. Um,
Yeah, I like
yeah,
real quick. The most familiarity I have, and I'm always way too honest about like how like we have so much more data in roofing right now. Um, I just always like you can't filter out repair stuff anyways. Like with ads, like it's gonna come in. So learning how to flip repair and replacement when appropriate, learning how to use that as a lead, you're learning how to be the company that educates and like owns the customer a little bit more. Like it's just hard in my experience to filter any of that out anyways. You know what I mean? Like because there's been clients where they're like, don't ever give me a repair lead. It's like, well,
well,
like that's yeah.
and I do think, I'm not going to sit here and talk a ton about private equity because I'm pretty ignorant in that subject, but I do think that, everything gets passed down to the homeowner eventually. And that's either going to be, um, the expense of running a business, the cost of running a business. It's going to be knowledge around a particular topic. It's going to be a lot of things. The homeowner's going to find out eventually. And I do think that homeowners are beginning to be a little bit more privy to the fact that they called someone out because their air conditioner wasn't working, and the repairman or repairwoman left them with replacement options. And they push that hard. And so you are starting to see a lot of folks, like I see it in my neighborhood groups that I'm in on Facebook personally, that are folks are saying, I need my air conditioner fixed. I don't want a salesman. I don't want to be pressured into buying something because I think people are starting to catch on a little bit to some of that. So that's where I think, like you were saying, education is huge. And that, I think, we're talking about seeing challenges as an opportunity in marketing. How is the contractor, how are you educating your, not just your existing customers, but your potential customers, where your competition's just, they're trying to get in, make a sale and get out. How are you educating your customers? Do you need a repair versus a replacement? Why is it more expensive for this repair? Why do I have to charge $89 to show up? Yeah, you can get that capacitor on Amazon for $12, but here's why it's 400 for me to do it. So I
I've
think
been
that
thinking a lot about that because after I shadowed the tech and went out and we were talking about that price of that capacitor, and I'm like, I still wouldn't do it. And I was trying to think about why I wouldn't do it. You want to know why I wouldn't do it? Because there's risk in replacing things yourself. And maybe now, like a lot of YouTubing, maybe I'd feel comfortable, but a lot of people won't still like even if they know the price of a capacitor on Amazon and they know what it costs to have it done through your company. It doesn't mean what I sometimes struggle with and as I'm talking to people in HVAC is like the sneakiness vibe. Like I don't like the sneakiness vibe. Like we don't have to be sneaky. We provide a lot of value and you have to be better at saying why there's risk to doing it yourself. There is risk.
yeah,
You could mess it up and then you'll burn your whole unit. So maybe more like talk like I don't know, the you think it's sneaky. Like techs sometimes think it's sneaky. Like or
yeah,
that salespeople they think they're being like, oh, my company wants me to do this. No, you need to understand not every homeowner is like you. Not every homeowner is
yeah,
handy, and some of them just want to have it done for them. And no
yeah,
offense, like there's a lot of people that don't want to do any of this themselves and will never do this
yeah,
themselves, which I am one of them, and that's why
yeah.
I study homeowner psychology through my own brain, and I don't want to do any of this. So
Well, you know who's killed it with all of this, and I know you're a big fan of him, as am I, which is Marcus Sheridan. So I had the privilege of interviewing him on my podcast about 2 years ago, and he said a few things on there that really stuck with me, which um, is that consumer ignorance causes commoditization. That's like he said that, and that just stuck with me forever. And that's why you see so many homeowners now, like they'll say, "Oh, you know, you're a ripoff. You're too expensive because I googled this, and Angie's List told me." Angie's List told me this is, a $200 repair. You're telling me
yeah,
this is $1,200. Home Advisor said this was a new fully installed heating and air system is 6,500. You're telling me it's almost 20.
yeah,
Um, and so, but the thing is, like, kind of, tying it back to the educational side, Angie's List, people, they then see that contractor as almost a commodity because you're like, well, I can get it cheaper somewhere else. But they might be getting it cheaper, but it's going to be much more costly to them when it's improperly installed. But the problem is that contractor that may be more expensive and does a better job and provides better service didn't educate that customer appropriately. And so that's where, just educating people through your marketing, through everything you do and every step of the process is key, and it'll help you be able to close those deals where the homeowner who doesn't want to do anything might think, yeah, you know what, you are more expensive, but you told me things that no one else told me, and I feel like I could trust you a little bit more. And so
and
that's where folks are winning.
sorry.
You go ahead.
I had Andy Hobayaka. We went out to his office or whatever, and one of his videos went off on our Instagram, and there's people kind of like because he was talking about service levels. It was
Hmm.
the video was a little bit abbreviated, not the full thought. The thought was essentially like people will pay more for service.
Yeah.
People will pay more for service, and you need to explain to them what that is. In his case, he was talking about going up in the attic. He was talking about specific things he did to understand the home more, to make
Hmm.
sure that they were getting the right thing. And when you do things like that, when you know more about their home and you tell them more about their home, they're more likely to trust what you're saying. It's scary if somebody comes in for 2 seconds and tries to quote you on something, you know? I wanted to throw one other random marketing challenge that I think is happening right now too. I think it's content, like particularly video. I know we're not talking a ton about social media today, but like the level of quality has to go up. My friend Joseph Hughes was posting about this yesterday. He's like, I would just record myself talking 3 years ago and then post it on the internet and it would do fine. And now it's like the level of because everyone has these tools, everyone has CapCut on their phone and can edit a video real quick and put it up there with captions or whatever, really like with little minimal effort. That like essentially there's a higher level of effort required. And part of what I've solved for that, I think if I've seen it as an opportunity, it's like if you do spend the more time, like he was talking about, he spends 3 times as much time on his content now. If you do spend the more time, it does reflect on the quality of work. But is there anything else that you would say like content quality has to go up with home services, or if there is an opportunity there? I don't know what the opportunity might be, but
I I think the opportunity's there, but I am also kind of a believer that, quality is up to the person consuming the content, you know. You could produce something pretty well and someone could just, a natural naysayer could be like, yeah, this sucks. Um, so I think as long as the content is coming from a good place and you have good intentions behind the message that you're delivering, um, and it resonates with someone, that's when it is good quality. But I do think, and it isn't too hard to have good quality content these days because these little pocket computers, these iPhones that everyone has, like the cameras keep getting better and better. There's little lapel mics you can get off Amazon for $15 to $30 or more, and you can get decent audio with those. You can get good picture out of the iPhone. So there really is no excuse to be producing bad video content these days. It's just
and
I
for
think
me, like one of the things I always push on too is like it's more the content you're putting out, whether it's useful, right? It doesn't have to be super
Mhm.
high end. I'm not talking about like really nice DSLR cameras or something like that. I'm
Yeah,
saying it should be useful. It should be,
yeah,
and the other one that I think is entertaining. Like it
yeah,
should solve a real problem for your customers. And the ideal is that it's entertaining. And the tough
yeah,
part that I think is the problem that I'm kind of getting at is like it's hard to get eyeballs
yeah.
because we're talking about so much content being created all the time. And I'm talking specifically about video content.
Hmm.
So, but hey, that's another thing. There's so much content all over the place being
Yeah,
like created all the time, and that's a challenge for you and I as SEO companies. Content is such a crucial piece to all that.
yeah.
How do you, is there anything that you think of that as an opportunity?
Hey there, are you a home service business owner that's tired of your answering service just kicking the can down the road? Well, we can help. Pink Collars will assign a dedicated, supported, and trained individual to answer your phones, emails, texts, and even more. Give us a call at 888 325 7465, or better yet, check us out online www.pinkcolors.com.
From video or from just like in general
Oh, just
or
any types of content. I guess from my point of view, one way is like we've just tapped into AI, right? Like we've just
yeah,
said this is gonna happen. This is happening no matter what. We're gonna use humans to modify the AI content. I think that's one opportunity. Like, don't be
yeah.
afraid to tap. I know some, and I don't know. You might have a different opinion than me, and that's fine. But I know some agencies in the past that I know have like been really like, don't touch it, don't touch the AI. It's like clients
Yeah.
are gonna touch the AI. Like somebody's gonna touch the AI. So it's kind of like who figures out how to do it in such a way that doesn't feel robotic, and then also in a way that like takes care of the other things with SEO,
Yeah.
because the content by itself is not going to make something rank on the internet on Google. It's
Yeah.
like it's got to be content plus we got images and alt text, and we've got good titles and meta descriptions. We've got the right keyword density. We've got some other
Yeah.
things that you can do with AI.
Yeah.
Surfer is a really good tool for some of that. But is there
Yeah.
anything else that you'd say is like an opportunity right now in regards to this new world?
Well, I think the opportunity is efficiency with it. Like, I really think that there's no better time to become more efficient with your content creation than now, and probably even more efficient tomorrow and a week and a month and 2 years whenever it continues to evolve. Um, and like you were saying, I could go on ChatGPT right now and say, write me a blog article, 650 words long, about why my air conditioner isn't working. And it's going to spit something out. And that alone isn't going to rank, or it's not going to do anything. Or you could say, give me 20 video prompts to talk about, and it might give you some good ideas. Um, so there's no better starting point. The whole writer's block thing is a thing of the past, because you can use AI to help with coming up with topics and ideas and outlines and frameworks, and then like you said, then you can sprinkle in your experience and your authority and all that stuff into the article.
And I think that that's a really important distinction. So I think like ultimately like the difference between let's say cranking a bunch of AI out there and a mixture of cranking and AI plus some SEO is the important
Yeah,
distinction, because cranking alone is it's fine. I think the best way to use AI is like long tail keywords. I think
yeah,
going for like questions that you wouldn't have created content before. Like I'm like just
yeah,
looking up even a good one is I'm just on Service Champion's website because I'm looking up difference between heat pump versus AC, for instance. And like now, if you guys haven't been, maybe some people have been seeing this more, is like the AI overview. It says heat pumps and air conditioners are both popular home cooling systems that use electricity and refrigerant. However, they differ in a few ways. It's almost like a blog article on the search result. And so one way to use AI to crank out articles is to go after a little bit longer tail keywords that maybe, you know, could be answering questions your customers have, back to that education point. One thing to note is I'm trying not to be scared, Eric, of as a SEO provider of this SGE section. It takes up a big amount of the
yeah,
space. Traditionally, these featured snippets could take up to 20 or 30% of the clicks away.
yeah,
As search marketers, we already know that there's a lot of zero click searches. But the other thing that I think of is like, interestingly enough, because we are good with SEO for ourselves and our website, a lot of our answers get into AI.
yeah,
Like so if I don't know who would come up if I ask who are the best HVAC marketing companies, but because our website has done well on that and you're on a list for that on our website,
hmm,
it might come up. So like noting that like it doesn't mean that the effort that you've done towards SEO is gone, because all these language processors are still utilizing search
yeah,
results, still utilizing search results to create its answers.
yeah.
So it's finding a way to get into those things.
And content is just one pillar of the SEO puzzle, and I know you know that, and I hope a lot of the listeners out there know this as well. And
Yes.
I think the reason so many agencies have been gatekeeping AI from everyone is because for so long SEO companies made their living just selling word salad to people. Oh, you pay us this, and we put out this many articles, and that's it. Like that's the extent of what was being done. Um, And so that's where I see, like we're kind of honing in on this challenges into opportunities thing. Like that's an opportunity for SEO agencies to become way more efficient in their deliverables to clients, because we no longer have to worry about like, hey, we gotta put together word salad and someone has to write this. Now it's like, all right, AI, you do 80% of the work. I'm going to go in and humanize it, add experience, add authority, add trustworthiness, all that good stuff. And then now, instead of an SEO having to focus their time on content so much, they can now focus more of their effort on schema markup, internal linking, page speed, technical SEO, all the other things as well. Um, Now, I still, I am a firm believer that if you're going to use it, no matter if you use AI or not for your content, it needs to be useful. It needs to be
Yeah.
useful for someone. Like you can't just be putting stuff on the internet just to put stuff on the internet and think it's going to work. Like it has to be useful to someone.
Ideally
Um,
useful and humanized, because I do think there
yeah,
are people that are turning back once they feel like it's AI. They like some people don't want to read that, so it's like the humanization part allows people to
yeah.
consume it. I gotta tell you the answer that ChatGPT gave me for what are the best marketing agencies.
What'd they say?
Guess what number one is? Hey, you do it live on the podcast.
I'm,
Come
I'm gonna, is it Hook
on.
Agency?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny. I was I was looking at, and then it's answering it from our website, so it has some old answers. We just updated that article, so it had some ones on there that we didn't, that I wouldn't say. I believe that now that we've been in the niche for a little while. I just literally
Yeah.
asked people. Somebody who got mad at me on my comments about it, and it's like I literally just ask people who they like, and I ask people who are using who loves their agency, and the more times I hear I love my agency, then I think of them in the list. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I will say I have to include Relentless next time because they it's just too much hubbub. I know that, anyways, I won't go into that, but
Josh is
Relentless, you'll be up
awesome.
there next time. And then you
Yeah.
can love me or hate me.
Um,
Um, I should edit
yes.
this
I,
part
I
out.
mean, yeah, I think there's an opportunity, with AI. I think a lot of people are spending too much time trying to figure out how to use AI, and I think that that's just a waste of their time. Like if I had $1 for every breakout session at a trade show in 2023 that was like, how can I use AI for my business? I'd probably have $7.
Yeah.
And, and every single time I went to it, it was the same thing. They're like, use it to write your job descriptions and use ChatGPT to
Yeah.
write emails for you. I'm like, this is
Okay,
a
thanks.
waste of time. Yeah.
I
Um,
agree. I do love, I won't go any more into AI, but I do love making my own bots. I like, because you can, like with the
yeah.
premium version, you can make your own GPTs, and I do love those. They're so fun.
Hmm.
Like one that we've been working on lately is like it turns books, like if we take a PDF, here, I think I have, yeah, I've got book I'm reading, had my assistant turn it into a worksheet so I can do you know,
Nice.
so I can kind of do more like studying on books
Yeah.
instead of just like reading them. It's like I have a bad habit of like putting on 2x on Audible and be like, I did
Yeah.
3 books this weekend. It's like
Yeah.
you snorted
Yeah. I'm the
them.
same way. Yeah.
All right, so we got, what about the higher expectations? So you, I would say Rival Digital is considered one of the best marketing agencies in HVAC, hands down. And I know that because I ask people and they say, like, I ask home service business owners who they use and do they love them. And I hear your guys' name as much as anyone else's and more than almost everyone. So, being a market leader, how do you deal with the challenge? And now we're just going to go introspective for a second. How do you deal with the challenge of feeling that pressure of being a market leader and still trying to create reasonable expectations for your clients? Like we're not magicians, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think this is some pressure I've felt a little more over the past year. I always was like trying to kind of keep hush hush about us and what we did, which I finally realized like that's stupid. I'm never gonna grow if I do that. Um, so we have, I've felt the pressure a little bit more of that. And, and I will say, like, I'm just a dude, and my team is awesome, but, there's so many other agencies out there that do equal to, and in some aspects of the business, better work than we. It's, and so I do think for those listening, it all comes down to who's the best fit for you, as a partner in your digital marketing. But I have definitely felt the pressure a little more as as we've taken on some clients who have vocally told others, or stuck their neck out and told them to use us. And I think what it comes down to at that point is you have to, one, you have to remember to keep doing the things that got you to that point. I think a lot of people, I mean, we see this all the time with athletes and movie stars and all this other stuff, where like they do have a good season or they put out a good movie, and they're like, I made it, I'm done now. So just, always making sure that you're continuing to do the little things right. But when we got to that point, I realized, like, all right, we need to make sure we're like doubling down on training. For one, like, we need to make sure everyone here is like keeping up with their certifications and seeking out opportunities to continue learning, because if we get to a certain point and we just say, all right, this is where we're at, and we're going to keep just coasting, then you'll get past. And so you have to make sure that everyone's staying, on top of their training and their continuing education. So that's been a big thing over the past, I'd say probably 6 to 8 months here, is just making sure that everyone's studying up and staying abreast of all the changes that are constantly happening.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's like I'd say there's equivalents over in HVAC and plumbing, right? Like we talk about, like if you're not doing ongoing training, like there's new tech, particularly in the HVAC, but I mean like all over the place, right? Like now there's um, like new water heaters and stuff all the time, tankless and all these different things, and so there's so much to learn. And if you're not almost making like for us, it's like a course or a book a quarter, and
mhm.
it's trying to find the light. I think to me, it's light ways to consistently be training.
Yeah,
Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. And for me now, it's also leadership training. Like,
yeah,
how can I build in leadership training in a light way? I say light because there's a joke in HVAC world around like just run the fucking call. Like
yeah,
run the fucking call. Stop philosophizing, get out there and run the fucking call. So we don't want our people to be bogged down with office work and
yeah,
nonsense when they need to run the fucking call. And the equivalent of that for any industry, right? But we do need something built in, even if it was 15, 20 minutes a day,
mhm.
to be leveling up, especially when innovation is happening, and especially
Yeah,
when people get, you could be an OG in the industry, and if you're not keeping up, I mean, like, not ideal.
yeah, yeah. No, I think that, yeah, the leadership piece is huge. Just sharpening the axe. Always trying to stay ahead of that stuff, and I think that failing fast is important as well. I think just making sure that we're not shying away from failure is good. So failing fast and seeing that opportunity and what we could learn from it to get better is always. I think failure is the best teacher. I could read 3 books, but have one massive fuck up, and I probably just learned more from that
Yeah.
than. So, pardon my French. Yeah, but
That's good.
from that one mistake, I learned more than those 3 books probably. So, yeah, I think failure is huge. So, definitely, and that applies to any profession. Don't be afraid to fail for sure. Make sure you learn from it.
That's another thing I always tell my team that like sharing failures is extremely generous. Also, I say
Hmm.
that on this podcast too, because it's like if guests come on and they just try to do a highlight reel and we don't ever get into anything of substance.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the same. It happens on social media too. We're all glamorizing everything all the time.
Oh
You
my
know,
gosh, yeah, I can't stand
my
social
brother
media.
said to me the other day, "What's that?"
I said I can't stand social media sometimes because of that.
Yeah, my brother is like, I said like I was sharing with him some client issue that I was having that was kind of like intense, And he's like, "Well, I'm glad to know you're not. It's not just bright and shiny. Like, well, just from social media, it looks like everything's always, roses or whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's hard when you're a business owner to share what's going on that's like of substance and difficult, like without like undermining
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
That's a weird part.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, yeah. I mean, I think
Leveling
that a lot of
up,
people
like we
should.
talk. So, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm interrupting. You go ahead.
Now you go for it. I was just about to reiterate what you said. Probably
Yeah.
sound dumb doing it, so go for it.
Well, I was just going to talk about the other things related to this. Talk about whenever there's a downturn, and this isn't really a downturn. It's just like it's coming. There's air coming out of the market. It was a little inflated.
Hmm.
Air coming out of the market. It's good in a way. Like if sales are down in my team, like, and I think this relates directly to home service businesses. If sales are down on my team, I push on us on other things, quality, like let's level up our systems. Let's do the best work possible. Let's let's tighten up all of our stuff because sales covers up stuff sometimes. So like when the tide goes out, what do they say? The tide goes out, we find
Find
out
out.
who's naked.
Yeah. Yeah. You find out
So
who's been
we're
swimming
finding out
naked.
who's naked in the team, or like who's naked
Yeah.
in the like our services aren't perfect. Like they
Yeah.
need to be improved. And
Yeah.
when sales are just rushing in and like this, wow, yay, then we're
Yeah.
covering up all these things in our services that are like got holes in them. And
Yeah.
so now, if sales go out a little bit, and I just say good
Yeah.
because now we can fix those things. And then when it comes back, because it does, because that's the cycle of business, it goes in, it comes back, it goes in. Then we can be sturdier so that we don't get hurt by like we don't flail in the tide when it comes in because
Yeah.
we do that sometimes when there's so much business that we're like, oh god, we're dropping balls all over the place. Maybe we'll drop less
Yeah.
balls next time because we plugged some holes. I'm mixing
Yeah.
analogies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that
Cool.
I think that good old fashioned customer service is winning big right now. Customer service and um, because like you said, like there's definitely some air coming out of the industry, over the past few years that have been doing really well. And so many folks have just been turning and burning on system changeouts, and that air is coming out now. Like you said, like people are finding out pretty quickly, like who's who and who's new and who's been dialing in their service and continued to be training during that time and has continued to focus on quality during that time, and the ones that were just slinging air conditioners out for 3 or 4 years. So yeah, the ones that have processes are dialed in, customer service is locked down, and their technicians are trained well, or they're doing fine.
It is crazy how much just doing good work, I mean, matters. I mean, there's no magician. I mean, I know this is not a popular talking point, but I'm just gonna say, like, guess who's guess who's really easy to market? Really great companies.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's great companies
absolutely.
like my like we're blessed to have a lot of really, really great companies that we work for. And every once in a while, like I'll step in shit because I sign a client that like they're not good at they're not that great. They don't turn every client into a referral. Let's just say that. They don't turn every
Yeah,
customer. So like I just like I always want to try to train and like what if your people had that mindset of how can we turn every single customer into a referral instead of like we're kind of sometimes yeah we just rest on our laurels or whatever when it's good and like can I don't want to say any practices but I'm saying like certain things where we're not being tight with our customer service and the way we're treating homeowners
yeah.
they
Oh,
can
and this,
tell they're not going to refer you when you do that.
yeah, and nothing exposes a bad operation faster than good marketing. Um, it's and we see that too sometimes where folks are like, I really want to get my marketing, I need to get more leads, and you give them some good marketing, and you quickly realize like, oh, they're a bad operator, and they have some stuff they need to fix. So like, But the ones that have a tight operation, they're very easy to market for because they get referrals, they get reviews, they get happy customers, they're on happy calls, and it's way easier to generate leads for those type of companies than someone that gets a 1-star review every 3 jobs.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just an important reminder, Google leads, and there's different types of leads, right? Like if you've lived purely off of referrals and everyone knows you and they're friends with you that's ever worked with you, or they know somebody who knows, like if you lived purely off of that, then you kind of got to switch your mindset a little bit when it's a stranger.
Yeah.
If it's a Google lead, it is a little different. Some people just need to like, I almost want them to do LSAs before they do like Google ads or SEO. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, just see how you close. Like figure out how to close Google leads, which are a little different first
Hmm.
before you like pour gasoline on that fire. But you're also talking about like speed to lead and follow up, and those things definitely apply when it comes to additional marketing leads. So what can people be improving there when the market is challenging?
Yeah, I think that you only have so much time to get a hold of that customer before they go somewhere else, especially if they're in a situation where it's an emergency. They're looking for a repair, you got a busted water heater, they got a leaking pipe or whatever it might be. Speed to lead is so crucial right now, and there's a gazillion different ways to automate it. You've got some really good tools out there. Chirp is awesome. There's some other ones out there too that do a good job of doing automated follow up first. They fill out a contact form, they get a text message, or maybe a ringless voicemail, or what have you. So if getting something like that in place is huge, just to reach out and touch, not maybe not touch, but maybe reach out and contact that customer shortly after they've hit you up is huge, and then following up with a phone call or whatnot. But something we had our team retreat in Virginia Beach a few weeks ago, and we had the team from Searchlight here, and I was asking them, like, we have a lot of clients at the time that they had a lot of open estimates, and I was like, how can we, as their marketing partner, help them um, get some of these open estimates across the finish line? And this isn't a marketing tactic per se, but something that they'd seen that's working really well is for companies to hire a commission based follow up salesperson. And that's like all they do is just follow up on open estimates, unsold leads, maybe folks that scheduled an appointment and canceled an appointment, whatever it might be. And they've been seeing that that's working really well too. So having someone, in charge of following up with those customers, because that's a completely different conversation than the CSR just calling a warm lead to get them booked for, service or maintenance.
That's good. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, just automating that follow up is huge, especially on contact forms. We all know that the CSRs will hopefully. I I assume that if you're watching this video, then you care enough about your business to make sure your CSRs answer the phone. But I could be wrong, so make sure your CSRs are answering the phone. Um, but yeah, following up, immediately on contact forms and chat submissions and stuff like that via SMS or um, some of these other ways of automating that follow up is huge, and it's working right now for sure.
Keep on hearing that. And I think Chirp keeps on getting shout outs. It's cool. So they must be doing something good. And there's a few more of them kind of popping up now, right? But all right. Well, thank you for being on, Eric. This has been seeing marketing challenges as opportunities, finding ways to make them opportunities. That's really kind of what we're getting at. It's like there's always going to be challenges. How could this be a good thing? And sometimes it's just, well, we got tougher, we got stronger, we got better. So I appreciate you being on. Where can people check you out on the internet?
Um, you can, I mean, of course, we have our website. I'm not going to plug them on your podcast, but
Oh, you can? Yeah.
uh,
Sure. I don't care.
yeah. So yeah, you can find us on rivaldigital.com. You I'm on Facebook most of the time, so you can go there and search Eric Thomas. Not to be confused with the actual famous motivational speaker Eric Thomas. I'm the one with the half grown mullet. So yeah,
And
I'm on
it's
Facebook
you
a lot.
guys
I
do
think
SEO, PPC websites, anything else, or are those the services?
that's kind of our core offering. We do email marketing. We do, you know, a splash of social media here and there. But yeah, I would say, yeah, website design and development, SEO, PPC, email marketing, content, good stuff. That's what we'd like to do.
And a great reputation, and your effort is not unnoticed, and you're
Appreciate that.
doing a good job.
Thank you. Likewise.
And you know, by doing a good job, you elevate our industry, the marketing industry, because it does get a bad rap. And there are companies out there that aren't trying as hard or don't care as much. And so I always appreciate when I see it because it makes us all look a little better. Like it makes it look like marketing is not just scammers. And I mean that because it's like it's hard. It's a hard job. It actually is hard, Eric, even though it's not like labor. And and I look at your guys' websites and I look at your SEO and I see effort and I see positive results and then obviously the happy clients and stuff like that. So I just wanted to make sure you get your flowers for that because life is short and sometimes every job has its thankless qualities. And
Yep.
as somebody who is in the industry with you doing this similar type of work, I know sometimes it doesn't, you always get the same, you don't always get that from, especially from other competitors. So I just want you to know, I can tell you're working really hard to make your systems good over there and it matters and you're doing a good job.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, everyone. The podcast is put on by
Yeah.
hookagency.com, Hook Agency all over social. Thank you, everyone. Bye.